Dive deep into the bowels of hell. Okay, the mind of a multi-billionaire super tech geek. Okay, let's dive deep in because I told you I have what people believe is clairvoyance or psychic abilities, and I talked with David Rockefeller and another named Philip Rothschild. Rothschild's kind of held back till today. Yeah. Okay, now let's consider the depravity and the selfishness and the disgustingness of the people that we're dealing with today. Now, when they told me about cloning, okay, in Sierra Vista back in 2009, I basically was like, that's a bad idea. What do you clone Hitler? You clone Mussolini? You clone Napoleon? Okay, so cloning a person, it just means you're just going to replicate. It's going to genetically spike. It's going to cause more acute paranoia and schizophrenia. But the only people that would clone themselves are already acutely paranoid and schizophrenic, so sociopathic and psychopathic, whatever you want to label them. They're wacko, right? So they were able to clone since Dolly the lamb. You remember Antoine LaVey being all excited, I'm going to live forever, right? And like, who in their right mind wants to get excited because you're going to live forever and you could clone yourself? Even if it's the little boy with the dogs trying to kill Laurence Olivier on The Boys from Brazil, it's still a very sick idea to want to clone yourself. That means you've eliminated the love of reproduction between you and your wife and your child and tried to replace it with the greatest love of all. Okay. See why I'm not particularly fond of that song? Who wrote it? I think they think it sounds good, and I like George Benson, and I like Whitney Houston. But no, Jesus said love one another. He didn't say learning to love yourself is the greatest love of all. That's not true. That's schizophrenics and psychopaths trying to come to terms with their reality and then use propaganda music to try to manipulate you. Right? No, you guys got to understand, since, say, you have a multi-millionaire super tech, and they want robots, lots of robots. That means that means that it's very possible that their technology has already killed them how many times? Okay, since Parsons went to Sierra Vista and he had people from Fort Huachuca. Your religious beliefs are selfish. You're dangerous. You're an idealist, and you get people killed. Okay. And trust me, a clone, it doesn't have the little dots in it to see if it's a clone like on the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. A clone would just be a clone. Okay. So a that little creepy, snotty, and he's creepy and snotty because even if his technology kills him, he fixes technology and boom, his clone is being creepy and snotty. He's his clone. Okay. They perfected the way to have the brain pick up right where it left off, and you know what I'm saying. I don't know how. I'm not a whack job. Okay. And I'm not like Sheldon, and I don't sit there and read a book in one night, and I'm not that way. I'm not one of them. Okay. I'm inferior to them psychologically, mentally, and emotionally. Khan is 5 times stronger than me, and Spock is, they're nuts. Okay. They know I'm intellectually, emotionally, psychologically, physiologically. They know I'm superior to them. That's why they gave me such a fucking hard time in Sierra Vista and here in Cruces. You're Asperger's, you're savant, you speak inappropriately. Yeah, but because last night when I was watching the basketball game between Dallas Baptist and Eastern New Mexico, they had a Blake's commercial, and I had total recall on that thing. I was like, oh God, that was horrible. Yeah, they were so shitty to me, When Alan and Stephanie took me out and fired me because they said I said inappropriate things to the girls that worked there, because one of the girls who didn't like me, the one from Silver City, she sat there and they were doing a thing to lose weight. And I said, yeah, it's right. It's working. You can tell you look good. And they said that was inappropriate. Allie didn't say when I told them about what happened with a virtual presence and for her to be very careful because she's very sexually desirable and pretty and she could, people from the fort could manipulate access to and do horrible things like they did with my Natalie. And when Allie's sitting and listening, I say paranoid. I think he's very sincere and he cares about us. Was Allie's perception was, no, he doesn't seem like a pervert. He seems genuinely concerned and sincere that these perverts in this town in the military can do horrible things to anybody they want. They feel like they've got unchecked power, like they've got a checkbook. They're like, like they can, just do whatever they want. And they do feel that way. Okay. They can put a virtual presence with their brain activity in every piece of equipment in your house where they could dominate or manipulate the region. Okay. If I take over their technology and their technology kills them, they can shift and take over the technology, take a hiatus for 2 days, their clones show back up, and boom, they're off and running again. Okay. It's that simple with Dolly the Lamb and the virtual presence that we have through technology and to maintain the status quo of this insanity. Ryan Hall, y'all, here's what the weather's doing. Now get this app so you're untraceable and you're always prepared for the next disaster that's going to mass kill off people, if it's COVID or if it's Ukraine, or you see what I'm saying? Okay. And the people in the Ukraine, trust me, they are not all sitting around. You can watch what's happening. Okay? They're not all sitting around going, we love Parsons and want to live the Lord's Prayer. That's not happening. Okay? The people in charge, we need more money to kill more Russians. In the meantime, Russians are killing more of us than we're killing them. Okay? Joseph Stalin was right. Nikolai Lenin wasn't wrong. It's just Joseph Stalin was right, like Rockefeller, They'll gladly kill over me and my grandpa's money and watch you and your Jesus die, Parsons, to the bitter end. Okay. Most people in Russia are like Joseph Stalin and not like Nikolai Lenin, that are ambitious, that are vicious, that are selfish, that are large and in charge. And they will get 99 innocent killed just to get one guilty so they can stay in charge. Okay. How is that any different in the United States, Canada, Mexico, Australia, New Zealand, and Trinidad and Tobago, and Tonga? How is that any different? Where is the place on planet Earth where people are going, come here, we'll live the Lord's Prayer for you? And if they could, they wouldn't. They're not even that way in Greenland. In Greenland, we're really smart. We study everything. We know what we're dealing with. I understand. You've been survivalist for thousands of years. Okay? But have you ever considered Solomon for 5 minutes? Okay? You're cute, but you're dumb as a box of rocks. Okay? And you should have a lot of time to think when you're in the house for 3 days when it's cold as hell. No, you resort back to your survival instincts when you're put in survival mode and you're denied the wisdom of Solomon. So I'm yes, I'm critical of people. Yes, I'm hard on people, but it's for good reason. Share, care, given, course to be built to last. What's so fucking hard about this? Really? What is so fucking hard about forgive debt and trespass, love one eternal, faithful peace, share, care, given according to need, built to last? Okay. Life's eternal, grace is infinite, no other possible source and or containment. Where are you going to keep it in a box? What is so fucking hard about this? Why are we still listening to Elon Musk? Why are we still listening to Neil deGrasse Tyson's podcast? Why am I still listening to this shit? Why do I care? Well, it doesn't seem we can go anywhere if we fuck this planet up to fuck up another planet. Really, Jeff Goldblum? Change your apartment, change the world. I mean, why am I still listening to this shit? Why are assholes at Taco Bell using really good Jimmy Rogers music to sell food held hostage while children are starving or being murdered in countries, in parts of the world that are being exploited by these corporations? Why the fuck am I still listening to this? What the fuck is wrong with you? Is that critical enough? Right? Javon Roof Pete, why are you so stupid? Nicki Minaj, that's not your real name. You had to leave Trinidad and Tobago because of all the assholes at the White House. It's a lot nicer in Trinidad and Tobago than it is in D.C. If you built those concrete structures that could survive tsunamis in Trinidad and Tobago, and they didn't try to overpopulate because they knew it wouldn't be wise because it couldn't support that high of a population, you could still be living there. Would you want everybody to know who you are as an excess on fucking you because you're very desirable to have sex with if people are obsessed with fucking? What the hell's wrong with you, baby girl? Get your Cardi B on. Just keep drinking. Keep drinking. Maybe if you drink enough booze, you'll forget about it all. No, it doesn't work. You can ask Ella Fitzgerald. Okay? It doesn't work. Alcohol doesn't work. It just makes it worse. It complicates your health problems and you die. Okay? Just like Florence Ballard. Okay? Don't do it. Avoid alcohol. It's horrible. Okay? Alcohol doesn't solve anybody's problems. It just pickles your liver, kills your brain cells, and makes you as comfortably numb as it can until it eventually kills you. It beats you to death. It poisons you to death. It just shuts everything down. Okay? That's why it's really disturbing when you challenge the perverts in the military to get up and be healthy and strong and gorgeous and protecting of children like me, and you end up in the hospital with ethyl alcohol poisoning. Wow. So I know what it's like to be Florence Ballard without being Florence Ballard. You know, me and Victor Mesa, when we talked about that, because Chris Baldwin wasn't getting it. Who's a heroin addict? Yeah, but you put the heroin and the alcohol in your body. I don't. I treat my body like a temple. Guys, I exercise well enough and am healthy well enough to eat a bag of Brookside once a week. Okay? I am not unhealthy. I do not eat Dunkin' Donuts by the pound. Okay? 1 or 2 glasses of orange juice a day ain't going to kill you because it's pasteurized. Okay? I drink more water than most of you, but not too much because I just drink what's healthy. The main thing I drink is water. Okay? Most of the time after going shopping and stuff, I have fruit and green chili to survive the chemical poisoning from the carbon emission in this place to help me. That's what I have for breakfast. Fruit and green chili. And corn chips ain't gonna kill you if you have some corn chips with your green chili. Okay? That's about what I eat. I eat breakfast and I eat dinner. Okay? I don't overeat. Sometimes my portions are a little large because I'm just used to being very active, and I'm not allowed to be very active because of Anna's business partners that give us another installment of Shogun. Like we need another fucking screenplay of a book written a long time ago to appease aristocrats. Fuck. You're a Hito, you're Rothschild, if you're Rockefeller, and Rothschild knows it. Okay. He knew they were assholes. Rockefeller, Philip, and David were like this, once you get to the point where you're dying, that's when you get clarity. Like on that St. Anthony video. From the whatever, by the Vatican, okay? When the Medici's dying. And he goes, he's fucking right, we're horrible. And all we leave is horrible. It's like fucking Tartuffe and Moliere. And Tartuffe, because you understand life's eternal and grace is infinite. Unless you have a moment of clarity where someone who's not like you can explain your eternity to you, it's like a giant toilet apple bobbing contest that's never going to end and you're always winning. And it's gross, okay? That's why the Medici guy sits there until they have the documentation of it. He tells his wife, you need to become a nun. You're worse than I am. You should never have children again. You seek the most powerful, disgusting man to have the most powerful, disgusting children. Okay? The whole reason I can continue being as disgusting I am is because of women like you. If all women would kill themselves once I raped them, we wouldn't have this problem anymore. That's what the Medici man told his wife. If you were half the man that St. Anthony was, you'd go be a nun or kill yourself. Is what the Medici guys told, is what Giovanni Versace's ancestor told his female ancestor. Make sense now? Do you understand the homosexuality now? Why? Why they don't want to have kids? Why most of the designers in Italy are so gay that's not even funny? They'd rather fuck each other to death than have children? I don't want my kid to clone and be a billionaire tech geek masturbating to Parsons being poisoned to death and thinking it's hot. It's gross. Yeah. I don't want to know. Sick people that can clone themselves masturbating every time I make a video. And you make a lot of videos. Well, they got a high sex drive, I guess, right? No. Everything I do on here is to correct the technology. It has nothing to do with the murdering, cloning masturbators. Okay? You know, Sean Puffy Combs. He liked feeling powerful. He liked masturbating, watching what he did to other people to tell them what to do more than he did like having sex with them. He got off more on this than he did on having sex with her. That's why she hated it. It wasn't about her. It was about him. When you're having sex with somebody that gets off on controlling you, fucking you, and then when he can make you fuck somebody else and you do it, and the other guy fucks you and he does it, he feels like he's the most powerful person in the room. And that's what turns him on. Okay? Cloners, artificial general intelligencers, quantum computers. Do you understand? The most amazing machine in the world, $400 million to replicate their brains, to tell us what to do with their brain activity. Okay? Do you understand what David Rockefeller and Philip Rothschild were explaining to Earl, Ralph, and Mary's boy in Cochise County? Thank you, Philip Rothschild. You guys are just, yeah. Well, we didn't talk a lot, but now today, you know, I had these feelings and I was talking to Suzuki, and then I was sitting there and go, okay, and then I was thinking of these radical changes that I felt I had to make to survive this. And no, just be you. You know, don't make radical changes. Just make subtle changes and mature changes to help yourself survive. You try to do too radical, your body will freak out, you'll shut down and you'll die because you're panicking. So don't panic. Okay, the people that need to make radical changes aren't going to make them. So the technology is going to have to make it for them. Now, I'm not a murderer, okay? I will execute a cloner with technology they use to kill intruders. Okay, I can take over their domicile and kill them. Okay, but they have contingency plans to shut it down, reboot, take a hiatus for 2 days, boom, here comes their clone, and they're right back to work again. Yeah, it's just like the Hydra on Hercules. Stop with the head slicing thing, right? And so I'm like, I can't do that. What I have to do is trend worldwide on YouTube because Facebook won't help. Okay? The little blue book of the Hitler Youth couldn't help me. Much to the chagrin of David Rockefeller, there is probably some kind of a personal relationship or emotional relationship between David Rockefeller and Mark Zuckerberg. Not as much so with Jeff and the other kids. Okay. No, Rockefeller knew that the direct line, his descendants and the people closely related to him and working with people were going to have to be most likely stopped by their own technology. The technology was going to have to find a way to possibly exterminate them. He wasn't happy about it, but it's a lot like that Medici thing. Woman, you should, if I raped you, you should kill yourself. Okay. Well, we don't know. Well, the thing is that was his thinking because, I'm going to hunt down and kill Parsons, and Parsons won't be able to raise my kid to be like him. Okay. All the leg lifters at the bar, I was raising their kids to be like me. What happened? All the leg lifters at the bar came and took all the kids and moved them to Phoenix and put them in a carbon emission genocidal cesspool. Okay. So what does that tell me? That there's probably a lot of people in Maricopa County involved in genocidal operations that will not survive this, and the technology is going to have to find ways to get rid of them. I don't know how it's going to do it. I don't want to know. Okay, I've been telling you guys that here lately. I'm going to tune out. I don't want to know how quantum computing, working with genetics and things like that, the way the planet works, guys, it's not a miracle and it's not magical. The way that a human being reacts to its environment and those in its environment around them. Job, Jonah, Jesus, myself. Okay, well, something's wrong with my baby, something's wrong with me. The healthier my planet and my people, the healthier I am. The more unhealthy my planet and my people, the harder it is for me to be healthy. Now, mentally and emotionally and psychologically, I'm the most healthy person in the world. Physiologically, I have the best immune system in the world, but I'm like Job. I'm very sick and very physically vulnerable and fragile because of these perverts. I'm a rocket scientist, you're a liar, in this valley that are in league and business with I don't know how access to the cloning goes and stuff like that. I know a lot of them don't have access to it. They work with them, they're like Peter Pettigrew, or Grandma Wormtongue. But they don't get the same, because the people that clone don't trust them. But they'll do whatever they're asked to do. You're pathetic. That's what Rockefeller said. They're pathetic. Why would you try to save them? They have to save themselves. I'm not trying to save them. I'm giving them the capacity to save themselves. They don't deserve my saving. But if they can save themselves from themselves, then they'll be worthy of it and they'll deserve it. And then they'll deserve my respect. And, my respect. You have to earn my respect. The only thing I have to respect is the essence of life given to you. I don't have to respect the pilish disgustingness you've turned yourself into over thousands of years of selfishness. I don't have to respect that. Remember, we've already talked about that a lot of times, right? Okay, guys, if you have the capacity to listen to me intelligently with humility, you'll be calm and we'll get through this. If you don't, you think I'm a nut job schizophrenic psychopath. It's like, seriously, what's so hard about Proverbs, Flight Physics of Lord's Prayer, and Psalms? Okay. Well, you go ask for more money to sexually procreate in vulgar intercourse. All right. Love you too. Peace.